In the run-up to the 2017 elections, I heard this word from the Lord concerning the two protagonists, that is UHURU Kenyatta and RAILA, that one would retire and the other would be retired. And I kept on wondering what all this meant. But in this video, I'm going to give you a culmination. It's a series. So if you will be patient enough to listen to this, you will understand what I'm saying. Because many times there are people who would dismiss you as somebody that don't know what you're saying. I might not know much, but I'm telling you there's a God in heaven, and He's my Father, my servant. And He speaks to me, and there is nothing that He spoke to me that didn't come to pass. You know, when you know the voice of your Father, He says we are the sheep, He's the shepherd. When you know the voice of the shepherd, when the shepherd speaks, you will know this is His voice. I know the voice because there are things even at the workplace. Look here, when I was going through a lot of problems after being laid off from my place of work, I went before God and fasted and prayed and asked God a number of questions, and God opened doors back, and I was recalled back to the same place, same position. But I told God something. You know, God is not this shrewd person who will crush you like you crush ants every time you ask a silly question. God understands us, and God will always seek to explain to us. He says, ask me and I will show you greater things that you don't know, that you don't understand. All you have to do is to ask. The problem with us is we don't ask. But if you dare ask, if you would make it your priority to ask God, God will show you things that you do not understand. And I told God, hey, look here. Yes, they have called me back to work. Yes, it's you that intervened. It's you that moved these people to call me back to my position and to work. But Lord, I don't want to work another year and then be laid off again. And God gave me a number, and I'm not going to tell you the number. And He told me, you will work this number of years before I send you, or before you go do something else. And it happened exactly. Now, there are things that took place, events that took place after I went back. The enemy rose up through some other people, and that I'm not going to mention, but they were very powerful people, they were very senior people in the company. They had a say, I had no say, and they just decided to skin me alive. And every corner and every turn I took, believe you me, I was like a punch bag. Everybody was doing some practice on me. But I went to God and said, God, look here, even this person that I thought is at the top, he's fighting me tooth and nail. Am I going to survive? And you told me you're going to work this number of years. And you know what God told me? God asked me a question. He told me, is it too hard for me, the Lord, to remove this particular person you're talking about? And sure enough, God has removed them. Not one, not two, but a number of people, each and every person that would fight me for nothing. I'm not saying that I'm always perfect. I know I'm my flaws, and it would be very wrong for me to say I'm a perfect guy. The righteousness I depend on is by virtue of Jesus Christ, the blood of the Son of God, that gave me access into this grace wherein I stand and rejoice in the hope of the glory of God. Now in Kenya, in this particular country, God has showed me. God, I began to ask Him. Immediately UHURU Kenyatta and William Ruto took over power, and they were indicted at The Hague, and there was a lot of uncertainty in the country, and the people were wondering, because we had also the hand from the West forcing us, telling Kenyans what to do. You remember the very famous rhetoric that choices have consequences. But you know, Kenyans are very, very wonderful people, and they can make you laugh, they can make you cry at the same time. But Kenyans are Kenyans. And I'll tell you one thing. You know, I walked in Nairobi in several places, and you go find a place, they say, usitupe taka hapa. And then you find the places littered with all kinds of garbage and crap. Why? Because you just showed them where to throw things. Usikojoe hapa. Then you find the whole place, it's smelly. From what? From urine. Because you just showed them the place where to go. When you say don't, they'll do it. Now Kenyans, they understand things opposite. They don't like being told to do this, because if you tell them choose this one, they'll do it the opposite way. Remember when President Moi told the Kenyans, okay, I want you to choose Uhuru, what did they do? They threw Uhuru away, threw him out, and they chose Kibaki. And when the Kenyans were told, don't choose Uhuru, they chose Uhuru. Right now they're saying, don't choose Ruto. Believe you me, Ruto is going to be the next president. I know some of you take it jokingly and you say, we hate this guy. Of course you hate him, but you vote for him. That one is obvious, because that's a typical Kenyan we know. Okay, now, the culmination of things God has been showing me. There are leaders in this country that have made a deal with the devil, with the West, and the West has full of satanism, Illuminatis, and they control the world. They're the hands. They put men in power, and they bring them down. They either promote or demote you. They bring wars that you see, all wars that are running around the world. The hand of Illuminati, or these powerful people that have all the money, that control money, they are controlling you and I. They are doing all those kinds of things. But God is going to bring about a change. God is enlightening you so that you know in which path to go. Now, God told me, one will retire, the other will be retired. So that's exactly what is happening. There is a very charismatic leader. There is a very formidable leader, formidable force to reckon with. There is one of the protagonists in the 2017 election, and he should be also in the 2022 elections, one of the protagonists. But I'm telling you that this man, the writing is on the wall. You need to pray for him. You need to beseech God. Now, it's not that God will do everything he has said, because God gives you a warning, and if you don't heed that warning, then you will face the consequences. To the Ninevites, he sent Jonah, and he punished Jonah because he wanted Jonah to reach the message in Nineveh. And Jonah did exactly that, and these guys repented. And guess what? The 40 days that God had given them to repent expired, and these guys were saved, they were secured. God did not destroy them. But we see places where God destroyed people after warning them, after sending servants and all kinds of people to warn them, and they refused. God finally goes down, and he just lets them go. He kills them. He destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah with brimstone and fire. In the time of Noah with the floods. And these floods, people think it's only rain. It was not only rain, but these were waters that were coming with a lot of pressure, high pressure from under the ground. You need to know the world sits on water. And when you put a body that is heavy as the world in water, guess what? There's a lot of pressure down here. And if you open the deep, my friend, you'll see what you've never seen, because there's a lot of pressure that can carry you to heaven and you don't come back. So this is what the Lord showed me. There are things that are taking place. Things are going to take dramatic turns and twists in the near future, because things are not what you think. You know, sometimes we present things in the way we think. Everybody believes everything is okay, while everything is not okay. I want to tell you, in Kenya, we have become used to forced marriages. Like right now, what is happening with the handshake, it's a forced marriage. Now, if you don't know what a forced marriage is, once I asked my dad, because when I was in school and we are told how the African men would go and marry, and my dad told me, okay, in your days when we would go and marry, all you would want to do is spot a good girl that you feel your heart likes. And then you would send some thugs who are your friends. You'd come along with some thugs and you would time her while she goes to fetch water. And you would carry her away to your house. And from there she's married. The next thing to do is to go and see the parents and tell them, hey, we got what we wanted. We got our chicken that was lost. What do you mean chicken? Oh, we are talking about your daughter, man. Nowadays, if you do that, believe you me, you'll spend many years in jail. And it wasn't considered rape. And she would accept with the long run. She would learn to love you, and that's all. I don't know how women do it, because women have a special heart for loving anybody. They can love even the devil. They can go to bed even with the devil. Sorry, women, I'm not attacking you, but it's the reality. This is the truth. We see in the book of Noah giants showing up, and women are fond of. They're afraid of short guys. They say short guys are tempered guys, so they would go for muscular people. They want people with six pack. They want people with everything that is double. You know those giants had a double row of teeth. You see, as you have your teeth in one row, they have double rows of teeth. They had extra toe. They had 6 toes on each feet and 6 fingers on each hand. And believe you me, women liked them, and they went in with these guys and they married them. They had great sex with these guys because the guys were big. And guess what came out? They produced giants that roamed around the world and caused havoc. And it repented God that he had created man, to an extent that God had to send destruction in the name of floods. That's where Noah was saved. There are documentaries that show even Noah himself was not that little guy. Noah was a giant. Did you know that? Noah was a giant. The sons of Noah were giants. Nimrod, who later began to build the Tower of Babel, he was a giant. They rebelled against God, the God of heaven. They began to do their own things. And God had to bring another destruction. He made you more, he brought in more tribes. He brought in more races. Just from some guys, he said, okay, I'm going to make you that you don't understand each other. So that the few people you understand each other, you hear their language, and then you'll have to cope together and call yourselves tribes or whatever you want to call yourselves. So in Kenya, these things are coming to pass. As I talk to you, you might take me as a joke, but I'm not joking. I'm telling you the reality. These things are going to come to pass. There are things that are going to take precedence that you've never seen. The things that you've taken for normalcy will never be normal again. Why? Are you speaking doom on this country? No, I'm just saying things are going to change. Because God is already blessing this nation. It's going to double, triple the economy of this nation. Sorry guys, I have to take the phone. I have to take that phone.